4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Uno, dos, tres, cuatro, cinco, seis, siete, ocho. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, I have to cut the fan off. It's too loud. Okay, I have to cut the fan off. Alright, hello, 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 hello. Can anyone hear me? I have no idea how many people are here. I noticed I was listening to my stream, or I guess listening to it back. Like, in all honesty, I do not know how good or bad the sound quality is. So, anyone who might be watching my stream, if you could please tell me how good or bad it sounds, that would be much appreciated. This sounds good? Alright. That's good then. Admittedly, this is going to be a not as long stream, at probably an hour 30 or 2 hours at most. But this is just a quick. I figured because I need to do some save file management, something I do for this game. There is a maximum of 60 plus save files you can have, and with something I have not gotten the chance to do since the 20th anniversary update happened for Ragnarok. I need to set up all the saves with the the Dark Odyssey armors and stuff.
Just apart from me, the only other
And
person
because
she
of,
spent time with.
I guess, how long that would take, I would rather, I guess, stream some of it than, you know, do it in silence, where no one really knows what or where I am. I forgot what button was dodge. Sorry.
She really doesn't like me, huh?
She does. It's just apart from me, the only other person.
So how's everyone been? There's everyone who is capable of talking in the chat.
Loki, show me the wolf. That's it. You've got it. That looked like it hurt.
Really? Pretty good. Going to Vegas in a couple of weeks. That sounds nice. Is there anything you plan on doing there specifically?
She really doesn't like me, huh?
She does. It's just apart from me, the only other person she spent time with is not very.
Truck on the rig.
Loki, show me the wolf. That's it. You've got it.
Honestly, not really. Just planning on looking around, taking in the sights. Yeah, I can get that. Where? Okay, whatever. I keep pressing the wrong buttons. What was I playing recently to make me... What button has L2 as block?
She really doesn't like me, huh?
She does. It's just apart from me, the only other person she spent time with is.
Truck on the rig.
Alright, I might have to genuinely focus for this. Because I should have had this done a long time ago. Where's the other one?
I got your back. You okay?
There we go.
It feels weird when I change. Like I'm not in control.
Do you need to be?
I might do similar streams in the future if I have nothing really planned for that day. Like no specific practice streams for any particular videos I've planned or anything like that.
Then while we look for a way out. No knife, remember?
Oh,
Yeah, Ironwood. Yeah, Zungi.
guess it isn't a total loss.
It's a save file management stream and trying to get because there is 60 plus save files you can have for this game, right? I have all of them set up to where I can either fight specific bosses or multiple specific bosses during certain points of the story. And since the 20th anniversary, uh, I guess it can be categorized as a DLC to some extent. Since that came out, I have not had the chance really to remanage my save files and make sure that everything has the the Dark Odyssey stuff. I pressed the wrong button, but at least I am at a new checkpoint. Despite how much of a slog Ironwood can be, it has one of my favorite boss fights in the entire game. That's a problem. That was close. Atreus, what are you doing?
Okay, maybe I don't pull up roots for a little bit.
It wasn't you. Hey, looks like they opened up a path over there. Let's catch up with Yala before more of them show up.
I guess that's a problem with Ironwood, especially on repeat playthroughs, even if you are streaming. I wish I had more to add, because compared to Kratos, Atreus' combat, while he does have his own advanced chain of combat in of himself, it is still limited. There is not much you can do compared to Kratos, with runic canceling and all that.
Where does this bridge go?
Hold on.
You enjoy that.
That's part 3 of Ironwood done.
Home again.
Yeah. Let's drop off these roots in the bucket up on the left here. Then, I've got one last thing to show you.
You okay?
Yeah, just... We should head back toward the water. This way.
Is it alright if we stick around?
How have you been, Azungi?
Wanna, you know, repair some stuff.
Yes.
Sorry, I'm still trying to think of things to say, but there is just not much to say. Like you were saying, or it's Ironwood. Oop.
Hey, thanks for taking the time to find all those extra green bulbs.
Boy.
The animals appreciate it. And
Been good, that's good. You been planning any new challenge runs as of late, or any like damage tests, or just anything along those lines?
But for you, that might be a god thing.
For Rebirth?
Oh,
Thanks for rubbing it in, though.
sorry.
Joking. Through the tunnel on the right, Yala. That's where we're headed.
Huh. Dead end. Oh.
Gina Talk
It hides
versus...
this place perfectly.
That's
Ooh.
why I couldn't sense any other giants when fighting.
Potions only, that is interesting. I was thinking about doing a Gina Talk run of some kind at some point. Oh, we have to get off here, I forgot. Walk past the chest, I was not paying attention. When you say potions only, do you mean like purely potions, or other varieties allowed, like high potions and X potions?
So,
What?
There's a soul inside your knife. Did you not know that?
No. Whose soul?
You know, maybe you should keep it where it is until you figure that out.
How did... I don't just go around stealing people's souls.
Not yet.
Y'all usually takes a while to get around.
What you doing?
Here's my line.
Ever kinda don't have many elixir potions, unfortunately. Yeah. Or elixirs or X potions. They can be hard to get.
Oh.
I got a few.
A little
Like
help?
more than I think.
I think I got it. How about
I know I probably have like 10 X potions, but
one?
I have like 20 or 30 something elixirs.
I'm not laughing at you.
You're not?
Ironically, not from the gold saucer either,
Uh-huh.
but just from playing the game so much
Need a little help.
and being a completionist. That definitely helps as
It's all
well.
about timing. When you release the rock.
Alright. Watch this.
Bring the wolf, Loki, but under your control. I've got this.
That's the only problem with the Aesir bow, is it does drastically decrease your what is the word? Your runic cooldown, but the charge time on everything else sucks. I guess I had to balance it out somehow. That is not the way I would have done it, but... Or maybe even just drop it by a second. That is a problem. Ironwood. I don't remember playing boys, Jesus. I like the way the second you say that I die. Playing boy as cool as you're playing. Well, I have 800 hours in this game. That probably helps. But, there's a lot of stuff that people do not realize in terms of just how Atreus works and a lot of things you can do. Like, if I can, I'll try. I cannot guarantee it. When you are aiming like this, and an enemy attacks you, if you dodge at the right time, it does like a slow-mo thing. But I would have to set up for it to some extent. And plus, for Atreus, I did dabble a little bit for the speedrun scene for Ragnarok, not long after it came out. But, not very much. I never did any genuine runs, I mean. And also, understanding what all of Angraboda's paint colors mean, like purple with either one of your runic arrows or runic arrow variation types, it causes immediate and, depending on the mob, instant death and detonation whenever you hit them. It also just lets you do more damage in totality. That's the problem. Alright, that was long and tedious and drawn out. A long time ago, I remember, I think it was a Japanese player. he came up with a quick kill route for this area specifically. I'd have to dig for that footage because that is how long it has been. Jesus. Also, Atreus' parry window is infinitely more generous than Kratos'. Doing it too late. Too late. God of Pebbles. There we go. And being a completionist is especially why Ironwood sucks. At least for me. What's funny is, I don't mind Ironwood. Like, I know people who have an adamant distaste or just hatred for this part of the game. I do not mind it. I understand why it is as long as it is, because they need to develop, like, Atreus and Angrboda as characters more. And unless they add more sections like Ironwood, the better way to do it would just to be making an overly long section. So I can understand why it is as long as it is. But on repeat playthroughs, yeah, it does suck. Thankfully, you don't have to repeat Ironwood for Platinum. Oh, yeah. Yeah, you can't. I think that is the case for both 2018 and Ragnarok. You can do a complete, like, single playthrough to Platinum the game. At a later date, I might do some streams with Valhalla, obviously. Just doing general runs and stuff. And then, I guess for like other games that have roguelike modes, I might stream that as well. Like, Azungi, I guess whoever else is here. I do not know who stayed and who has left, but have you heard of a game called Ghostwire Tokyo? They were made by the same devs that made things like Evil Within, the Evil Within games. I know it was one of the last horror games they made in recent years, or at least horror adjacent.
What's that?
A lift. We'll have to leave Yellow for a bit. We're heading upward. Mara.
Nothing like doing frame-perfect shield cancels to spam it faster.
Just means we're coming up to the end.
What does that mean?
You'll understand once we get there.
I have Tokyo in my library, but I have not played. I'd recommend it. It's a really fun game. I guess it depends. There are times where the combat, like, once you understand how the combat loop works, it can get, like, repetitive depending on who you are. But there's, like, the way the combat system works is, like... How do I describe it? It uses an elemental system for your attacks, right? So you have fire, water, and wind, and you shoot them out like projectiles. It's first person. I do not remember if there's a third person mode, but you also get a bow and some things called talismans, and each of them have different properties. Like there's ones that can do core exposure faster, which is one of the main combat mechanics. There's one that stuns enemies faster as well. But, the way the game plays... Jesus. How am I still alive? The way the game plays, it feels like Doom in a weird way, is a way I can describe it, with some of the stuff you could do. At least some of the ways that at least the very small amount, or even like DMC players, I think would, Jesus. DMC players would like it, I think. Just because you can do like, a lot of, at least from what I've played in theory, I've never really tried it myself. But I have a feeling like if you gave it to like a Doom player or a DMC player, they'd be able to like quick swap and weapon cancel stupid fast. It is just a really fun game. It also has a roguelike mode called the Spider Thread. DMC mentioned, yeah. You cannot juggle enemies per se, but you can set things up like you can, if you I'll give it a try one day then. Yeah, I'd really recommend it. I might like a roguelike stream for Valhalla, which I probably will. I probably will do the same for Ghostwire. And its roguelike mode. But there's like a charge mechanic for the projectiles, right? And I ended up figuring out that if the way it works is if you fire once and you hold L2 after the fact, then it instantly charges a max, like a fully powered charge thing. And you do not have to wait for the charge time. I ended up figuring out that if you fired something with like, they call it weaving, like air weaving, and then like after you fire, you hold R2 and you swap, because the swiping also is reliant on the D-pad.
This way.
You can then swipe or swap to like fire weaving, for example, and it fully charges it.
Fear of Asgard. So they hid. Left a pile of corpses.
And you can chain that for the most part. So you can air weave, swap while holding, that charges fire weaving. You can fire that, fire weaving, and then swap that while you're charging into water weaving. And there's a lot of things like that. You can set up like multi-kills, because you have to expose the enemy core, right? And then you have to take it, like yank it out of them. And you can do like a 12 plus. I'm actually not sure what the max number even is. I know it's like a stupid amount you can do. I think the max I've gotten was like 7 or 8 or so.
Time I was in Jotunheim. I was there with my father.
You know the giant's fingers?
I spread my mom's ashes there. Feels like ages ago. Hey, just because of some dumb mural, the story doesn't have to be over.
I know. I mean, I have plans.
I see. Always nice chatting. I need to do some stuff now.
We should get back to
Later, alligator. Alright, yeah, see you later, Azuki. The Zoomzi's gone.
Is she okay?
Wonder what other conversation topics I could do to keep whoever else is here in the chat entertained. That is actually the fastest, or not the fastest I've ever killed it, the Wolver, but definitely the most stylish.
Yeah, she was fine. Sorry about that.
So, these marbles, they're all that remains of the giants?
Not all of them. Some are just missing.
But where could they be?
Nowhere in the Nine Realms, as far as anyone can tell.
Yeah, they're in Japan. That is where the next God of War game is.
Farah! Past those rocks, there's a sinkhole. That's where we're headed. We should... Something on your mind?
Nobody believed this place was real. They're gonna be so surprised.
Loki, you can't tell anyone about Ironwood. Not even your father. The biggest thing keeping this place safe is that Odin's not looking for it. My wards can keep the wildlife at bay, but if Asgard ever came looking...
I get it. I'm sorry. I won't tell anyone.
That would be the second part of Ironwood done. Now the fifth and then final part. Technically.
Hola. We have company.
Whoa! Hi. Bye. Hey, I found another green bulb.
Hold on to it. We can always use more to feed the animals.
That should have been a double kill. Kill. I should have got both of them though.
Watch the sinkhole coming up. Lots of creatures in it. Used to get a lot of supplies for paint down there.
Yeah? We should run them out. Your paint supplies are important. If that's what you want to do.
No,
Sure.
but the game is going to
Why not?
force us anyway. Now we have to watch this unskippable cutscene of Atreus' negative Riz.
Hey,
Killed a flower?
Oh, it's a gift.
Thanks, but you keep it.
Uh-huh.
Anyway, we're looking for wretch nests. Those will give me the supplies I need, so keep an eye out.
Where are the other ones over there? What? I guess that's something interesting, that the Jotnar bow just objectively has
Let me fix that.
the weakest default projectiles.
A nest above.
They're everywhere down here. If we can light more torches, we'll be able to see, clear them out, and grab what I need from them.
Because the Jotnar bow can only is the only bow that cannot break the
This'll help.
I can't stand these things.
It's so much cooler down here.
Uh-huh.
You should visit Midgard.
Another torch, this way. There we go.
I just watched her teleport just to hit it from further away. And she did it again. Well, I guess I cannot say I've ever had Angrboda this far into the cave with me at this point in the game.
I got your back.
Of course there is one more. And there is nothing else in here, from what I remember.
Smells kind of funky.
Hilarious.
not to get lost in here, right?
Hmm.
We got it. Keep an eye out. There could be.
I thought that other one
saying?
moved.
This'll help. Let me know if you see any more torches. I'll light them so we can keep
This is the one part of Ironwood that definitely, if every other part of it overstayed its welcome, this is the worst offender.
That looked like it hurt.
Of course, you still barely lived. Wait, what was down here? Oh, I came down here. Maybe my memory of this place is not as strong as I thought. I know it has been a while since I played the game, but still. Wow, I just perfectly weave the arrows between them each time.
I got you. Got it.
I have no idea where to go from here.
Got another one. We can see again.
Well, I do, but... Yeah, that's the one problem with Ironwood. It does not leave for... Are you serious?
I've got you.
That does not... It does not leave much for... the chat.
Aren't just down here. They can be up on higher paths.
Uh-huh. Of course. Yeah, though every time I play it, I dislike it that bit more. Well, chat, is there anything you can think of to talk about?
Aren't just down here. They can be up on higher paths.
Got it.
That would make this less insufferable.
Shouldn't be many left.
There should not even be 4 of them to begin with, but here we are.
I have an idea. What if you came with me?
Where?
Midgard? The other realms? Anywhere.
I don't think that's a great idea. My animals need me. It's sweet of you to offer. I think there's another one nearby.
Where did you come from? Favorite game and why? Bloodborne. Bloodborne because it is the only game that... Well, simply put, I have a hard time listing all the reasons why, but it was my first FromSoft game, so that definitely helps its case, but in general, it is... For me, obviously, it's the greatest game ever made, but the amount of arguments that you can make for it to be the greatest game ever made, for a variety of reasons, the setting, the style, the bosses, the art design, the environments, the story, the weapons, the combat system, the list goes, the music, the list goes on and on and on. And Bloodborne also is like a borderline horror game. And to this day, it's the only game that not only is one of the few games that's ever scared me, but to this day, it's one of the only games that still consistently scares me after all these, like, not so much a years. Like, I did not play it at launch, unfortunately, because at that point in my life, I was not as into FromSoft games as I am now. But I've played it for, at the very, I'll say 4 years maybe at this point. I think that'd be a safe estimate.
You have more than one.
No, I got this. Blue. Wait.
Did I get all of them? So safe to say that yes, 100%. The only reason why I wouldn't recommend it or would not recommend it is if you have a thing about frame rate. You know, it's still being locked to PS4 technically. PS5 does make it run at a consistent, consistent 30 frames. But that would be the only reason why I would not recommend it. But even then, for me, that is not a very strong recommendation, or not strong recommendation, strong reason to not recommend it. And I guess that is a pet peeve of mine, people who care way too much about frame rates and things of that nature in relation to video games. If the game is fun, then it does not matter. And Bloodborne is beyond fun. What's funny is I do have less hours in Bloodborne than I have, like, Ragnarok, for example, right? But despite that, it's still, like, leagues above in terms of, like, favorite game whatever compared to Ragnarok. It's not even that I, like, hate God of War Ragnarok or anything like that. It's just, there are so many things that Bloodborne got right and did right for me that it is hard for me to, like, compare God of War Ragnarok to it.
You okay?
Yeah. You?
Ready to be out of here.
Thank you.
Let's head home.
You know, I thought learning my destiny would change something. But I'm still just me. Was it like that for you?
You're always still going to be you, Loki.
Well, I guess if you are a PC player and you want to play it, the what is it called? The
Back the way we came?
Head around the same floor. It'll be quicker.
emulator scene for PlayStation games or PlayStation 4 games has advanced so far. And I think Bloodborne is at a state now where it can be emulated on PC. But I do not remember. I have not checked on the project. They made stupidly large strides, though. In like the last, especially like late last year, early this year, was when they made the most progress. They got the lighting for the game to work and stuff, and the sound design and all that. Obviously, 60 frames. Before, the only way to get 60 frames of Bloodborne was to get a jailbroken PS4. Good thing I'm a PlayStation gamer. Yeah, I guess it works out then.
What are those?
Fireflies?
Are they dangerous?
But yeah, I 100% recommend Bloodborne. I would never not recommend it.
Kinda nice.
Yeah.
The trick, like, debatably, I'll go as far as say that Bloodborne has some of the coolest weapons, period, in any FromSoft game that they've made over the years.
Perfect.
There are still a lot of, like, cool weapons in FromSoft's, like, everything. Like, obviously, the one that I can probably bring up and mention is the Holy Moonlight Sword, or Blade, whichever, all the various names it goes by in all the games it shows up in.
I know things have been weird in a lot of ways, but
That's there, and it's a
glad you
trick
came
weapon.
here.
Me too.
And the whole gimmick with trick weapons is the fact that they're 2-in-1. You can transform it from one weapon state to another, so, for example, there's a weapon called the Saw Cleaver. And when it's tricked, it is in the cleaver state, but when it is untricked, it folds in half in a way
When?
to be more of like a saw,
After things calm down.
obviously, hence the name.
After Ragnarok?
Yeah.
There's also a sword, curved sword, that transforms into a bow.
Girl, you can make it.
What's up here?
A shortcut.
There's a sword that its sheath, there's a big hammerhead at the end of it.
Let's give Yella a break.
What's the name of it again? Kirkhammer.
Watch out! These creatures are fast.
I got that.
And what is another, like, a cool one? Sounds like a fun game. You have to try it out at some point. Yeah, it definitely is. Hard not to have fun with it. It being a FromSoft game, obviously, is very difficult, but still fun. Once you understand how like the limb break system works for the bigger bosses and how to use that, the combat just the things you can do in that game. It's so rewarding. The game just heavily rewards you for understanding its mechanics and its weapons.
When she learned my father wouldn't do anything to avert his fate, she changed.
See.
Looks like we'll need to find a way through.
Get off of
Almost done with the final part of Ironwood. Sixth and final part. I got overzealous. I should have dodged out the way. Matter of fact, I do not have the patience for this. It's a neat little speedrun trick that makes things just even, if it is just a little bit more, it's more tolerable than.
Giants live here. Over time.
You want to know about your mother?
She lived this entire life before she had me.
Most parents did.
But I don't know anything about it.
Sorry.
Most children do
I
not.
don't know anything about her. Your mother left the path of the Giants way before I was born. Let's go! This is Grandma's home. No lights. She may still be checking her traps, but she might have more animals.
Almost there.
There's another way in, up there. We'll have to figure out how to get to it. Maybe there's a way from the other side, but I won't be able to get across.
I know, Angraboda.
What does she need animal souls for anyway?
She can live moments from their lives. Finally feel free. The wind in their fur as they run. Their only worries being to hunt. Sleep. It's not real.
You know, I do still have to wonder what the next game will be. A lot of people are saying rumors and stuff that it is going to be a remaster of the first God of War game, at least. That we are going back to Greece. A lot of people are saying that it is going to take place in Egypt. It's just the next part of the series.
We know my future, and it doesn't involve us getting killed by your grandma.
Not how it works.
Ironically enough, I doubt they will ever make an Atreus spinoff. The only way I think they would ever do something like that if it was a DLC. That is the only way I see them ever doing that. The only way they could is that they made Atreus more like Kratos in the sense that, he has like a wide variety of weapons he can use. But considering who Atreus is, that just would not really fit the character. Kratos has a reputation for being like a kleptomaniac. Second he sees a weapon from someone else, that weapon is now his. Maybe not so much in this game. Well, no, yeah, because the sword hilts. The only way I can see them even making Atreus of a quarter, like how Kratos is in that sense, where he has like a bunch of stuff he can use, is if they, you know, leaned into that giant aspect of him, and he was a mage, and he had like a wide variety of spells and things he could use, but I just do not think, in general, I do not think they would ever make a spin-off for Atreus. Like, give him a full game just by himself. Unless it was a DLC. Like what they did with Valhalla. Otherwise, no. That is why whenever I hear people freaking out, you know, oh, if they ever make an Atreus, buddy, I think even you realize the devs would never do that. That is just so far out of the realms of possibility.
No way. Is that Yala?
Especially since too many people love Kratos. And they are too interested to see him at this point. I think even going as far back as, like, God of War, what was it? Which one? I think it was God of War 1, where you can look on the walls and see, murals and stuff from Egypt, and Egyptian-looking hieroglyphs and stuff. I think even since then, a lot of people wanted to see Kratos go to other pantheons and stuff. Maybe back then they would have liked to have seen him do what he did in the Greek games, but... And that's also an irony, right? The fact that most God of War fans, they would say that they wish nothing ever changed and they wish everything stayed the exact same, but no, you do not. You want to know how I know? Because every time I hear someone say that, my next question to them would be, how did you feel about God of War Ascension? No, yeah, Ascension, sorry. If they say they hated it, then they answer their own question. No, you did not want the game to stay the same. You wanted it to change because Ascension sucked because of the fact that it was nothing new. Nothing new happened. It was just the same thing Kratos did before, but now there's literally no purpose to it. It was just Kratos killing things and going on a murder spree because. And that game goes down in infamy for how much God of War fans hate it, for a variety of reasons. But chief among them was, it was just the same thing, but now without any purpose. So, whether most God of War fans would like to admit it or not, these games needed to happen, otherwise the franchise would have guaranteed died. And we would not have seen it evolve in any other regard, and we would not have seen Kratos go to any other pantheon. Now we're just waiting for the next game, right? We don't know where he is going, if he is going anywhere. Or if he has to go anywhere. I get the strong feeling that if they are going to go anywhere, though, it is Egypt. I know a lot of people say they want to see Kratos like tackle the Japanese pantheon and go to Japan, and Kratos with a katana would go hard, but I think Egypt just makes the most sense. It would be, in a way, more of a return to roots from where the franchise started. But at the same time, if they do go with Japan, that's probably because a lot of other games recently have done Japanese themes.
Champion of the Jotnar, here in my humble home. a bit of fun before
For
the
your
fall.
father croaks.
Don't talk about my father. You'll do well as Odin's stable boy. Shut up! I'm sure he'll make such a fine pup, you'll forget all about your old wife. Shut up! Sword! Kill!
I got overzealous. Nope, wrong button.
The champion of the Jotnar. Here in my...
The runes on her cauldron!
I am aware.
Salty Cupid! You'll do well as Odin's stable boy. Shut up! I'm sure he'll make such a fine pup, you'll forget all about your old wife. Shut up! Springandi Klangur! What? Oh, leave me alone! No!
I can't
Problem.
anymore!
Salty Cupid! No! Get away! Springan Clownwood! Salty Cupid!
What am I doing? Well, I don't cool down. That sucks. I forgot you can shoot them to dispel them as well. Not just... A game in Japan would be cool, but I think it would be really funny if a big guy like Kratos used a katana. Hold on, I have to focus before I finish reading the rest of that. That is why. What was your comment saying? If a big guy like Kratos used a katana, which most of the times I've seen are used by people without muscles. Well, I guess that's more of a dependent thing. Because the funny thing is, you have to be somewhat built to use a katana. I think most people do not realize just how... What are you doing, Atreus? Just how heavy katanas are. They're incredibly heavy swords. But they're also stupid sharp. So... And they also come in... I almost died. They also come in sets of 3. So it's one really short one, one bigger one, and then one really big one. But I guess it also depends because katanas are technically more ceremonial weapons at a certain point in Japanese history. Like, by the time of, like, a game time period, if I was... Christ, a lot's happening. If I was to use, like, a game, for example... A time period that Ghost of Tsushima takes place in, the samurai stopped using katanas. Instead, they used bows and spears. Because once again, at that point, katanas were more ceremonial than weapons of war. And if he does not use a katana, he could very well use like a nagata, which is one of those, is a much larger weapon, spear-based. But in general, it can be described like I parried that. It can be described as just a very long stick with a katana, like a short side katana, glued to the end of it. I wouldn't be surprised if they give him that because of the fact that, you know, Kratos is a Spartan, and they famously use spears instead. But the only reason why I think they might not do that, and they might give him a katana instead, is because of the fact that they just gave him a new spear, Dropnir.
This is all I've got!
I should not have tried parrying that.
What did I ever do to you?
They could even just try giving him like a Japanese warbow. That'd be interesting. It has been quite some time since we've seen Kratos with a bow. Well, yeah, I think that's still a fair thing, because we haven't seen Kratos with a bow since God of War 3. And we know he's no slouch. That is why his son has a bow.
Leave me alone!
Just the firing time on this thing is so slow. This unironically might be the last time I ever go out of my way to use the Aesir bow. Just because of how slow it is. Angerboda, did you accident...
Watch out! Get off the counter!
Well, that was slick.
What did I ever do to you? Aim for the cauldron!
I was not paying attention.
I think we can stun her. Tell me when you're ready, and I can use rune stones on her candles. If she's close enough, the blast might stun her.
I can hear you!
Atreus.
I'm just trying to wrap this fight up.
What did I ever do to you?
You can last second dodge that? Forgot to change it back. Of course that still did damage to me. Angerboda, please. There we go. And dead. No, she's just really big and you guys are very small. Actually, now I think about it, something that might guarantee us going to Egypt rather than Japan or anywhere else like that for Kratos in the next game if we are going to another Pantheon like we think we are. Everything the devs have said implies that they want to do that. Is the fact that one of the prequel comics for 2018 that came out a little bit not like I would say halfway before the release of somewhere between the release of 2018 and what was it, 2018 and Ragnarok, sorry, for some reason I forgot the name of the game I'm playing right now. But somewhere between there they released a prequel comic talking about what Kratos was doing when he came here. Ancient Agent would be crazy, bosses like Anubis. Funnily enough, with Anubis, right, I think he would be more... The depiction of Anubis in most, like, things, whenever people use, like, Egyptian mythology is, you know, typical god of death type thing, but if you look at like what Anubis was said to be like, I guess lore accurate Anubis, he was actually very kind and non-confrontational. He just that was his job, to guide spirits to the afterlife. Not so much of take their lives, but you know, weigh their hearts on a scale, and if it was heavier than a feather, then they went to their underworld. But if it was, if it was lighter than the feather, then they'd get sent to the, I forget what it's called, it's the field of something. So I think he would be more like an ally to Kratos more than anything. Or maybe a better, more apt description would be, I think that would make him more like Tyr than anything else. They'll probably use the approach they did with Tyr, with Anubis, where they might still make him a boss fight of some kind, maybe even like a training partner for Kratos. But I doubt he would be like an adversary in that sense. And in terms of like other boss, like more obvious boss fights, Horus, obviously. The Egyptian sun god and the king of the other Egyptian deities. That's just a no-brainer. If anyone is going to be hostile, it is going to be him. But because of that prequel comic, he has unfinished business in Egypt. Before he got to Scandinavia, he crossed through Egypt.
Hey, thanks for taking the time to find all those extra green.
Or at least he went there for a little bit.
I do too.
At the very least, then he met some of the Egyptian deities, and Athena was there as well, if I recall, still stalking him and stuff.
Still don't believe it, do you?
But I think that's probably why we would go to Egypt first and foremost, because he has unfinished business there. In a way. The Egyptian deities, they went to Kratos and they basically told him, hey, you need to like calm the hell down and not be a shithead. And you know how Kratos is, he basically told them to jump off a bridge. Of course. Heard we gotta wait till 2028 for... That is entirely likely. That is entirely likely when you look at the development cycle. Because, 2018... Like, Ragnarok came out in 2022, right? And if we're in 2025 right now, like a year after it came out, that makes, like, a lot of sense. Another thing that tells me that that estimate is probably true is the fact that, if they did have something in regards to a new game plan, they would have showed it at, they would have showed it or did something for the 20th anniversary, but they could not. And I could probably tell you why, exactly why that is. That is most likely because of the fact that they do not have anything. In the sense that they're working on a new game, but they're at a stage in the game's development cycle where they cannot say anything. They're not allowed to. And it is not like they could just go back to this game, right, and make like new content for it. Which they probably wanted to do, like true, proper new content. Instead of just like the skins they gave us. The way I know a lot of people were disappointed with, you know, this 20th anniversary update and it just giving us these two skins and then some new armor pieces. But this is probably their way of telling us, it's like, hey, we are working on something and we want to give you more, but we're not in a position where we can tell you what exactly we're working on, even though we want to.
Finally done it. We don't want to fight.
Ow. Jesus. So that 2028 estimate, yeah, it is definitely entirely likely.
Why are you doing this?
I would be shocked if it was not. Like, the earliest I could see the next God of War game coming out, unless it is a remake of an older one, is 2027
Father, are you okay?
at the earliest.
Focus on the enemy, not me.
Yes, sir.
And once again, that is if it is a remake, because you know how a lot of people are saying that the next game is going to be like a return to Greece. We are going back to Greece because of a remake of some kind.
Don't touch it. Why would you?
Yeah, Valor. A rage I rarely ever use, if at all.
Protection ward that'll keep me from being pulled out of the realm. It should hold until I find what I need.
And what is that?
The source of the magic that binds me to Midgard. We're going to fight it. Destroy it.
I will help you.
But
But
that
it
does
will
not.
not change what I have done.
I know. That's why I still might kill you, Moses.
Ain't going nowhere without this.
Also, another reason I think about it that we might not go to Japan in the next game, or any of the more eastern lands like Mongolia, China, I think, is because, simply put, is too far out of the way. The closest one would be China, but no. It is far too out of the way in the sense that what reason would Kratos have to go anywhere near that part of the world?
Clearly, you've been quite capable of breaking
The only place that would make sense if he was to like go anywhere else would be Egypt, because once again he has some form of ties to them.
This one is held strong.
He passed through Egypt. Their deities directly in some measure confronted them, being like, hey, can you not be the way you are?
Because you did. I got an old drinking buddy I've been meaning to look up once this joint were back on the map. Got a hunch lending you mokes a hand's gonna end me up where I'm going.
Just from a story and narrative standpoint. Well, oh god, I just realized I countered my own argument.
Beef with Brooke.
If the end of the Valhalla DLC is anything to go off of, then
Part of this.
Well, my hunch
he might go to Japan to seek further enlightenment. Maybe they could have it to where Kratos goes to Japan
I can feel the pull of the
to
binding curse.
speak to some of the, I guess, Japanese deities. Maybe even have like some experience, not experience, but have like some kind of like interaction with a form of Buddhism.
This is a
Not even to say that they're gonna convert Kratos to Buddhism or whatever, but
required trust.
Oh, please. You know damn well Kratos.
when it comes to a lot of like Eastern stories
My suffering
or stories from Japan, there is like a heavy narrative pull towards stories of enlightenment and inner peace and things along those sort. So if they want to continue down this path, unless, you know, Kratos already did, which is what it is implied, that Kratos already did sort everything out in Valhalla. Like he found his sense of enlightenment, at least inner peace.
Easy, I know. You'll have to try harder than that, Brock. Just you wait, smart guy.
Come on, let's find a way forward.
Through here.
But in general, I do think they would go to not Japan, sorry, Egypt.
My spell, I can feel it
It just makes the most sense for a lot of reasons. And like what you were saying earlier,
torn from the realm.
how would I...
Something I was hoping to avoid. Seems I don't have much
Yinweedi?
choice.
Is that how it said?
Falky!
I'm not very sure to pronounce your name, apologies.
Come on then.
You had a way around Odin's cup this whole time.
No. I discovered it
Like you said, just the boss fight potentials. Like there's a lot of people who would love to have Kratos fight people like Anubis and Horus and all them. And another reason why they might have him go to Egypt is, I think, something that not a lot of people are aware of is
I recognize this mark.
what was it? Hermes, and at a certain point the Egyptians, after the cult of Osiris showed up, the Egyptians stopped worshipping Anubis more. Well, at least for a period, they stopped worshipping Anubis as the god of death because of the cult of Osiris. And at a certain point, I do not remember when, the Egyptians combined Hermes and Anubis into a deity. I do not remember. I think it was something like
Looks like they sure left behind a lot of goodies. Shame to let 'em collect.
what was it?
That's one way of looking at it.
Hermnubis or something. It was like unironically just like plugging their names together in a weird combination, but I do not remember what it was. It could have been Nermes, Anubis Nermes, Anubis Hermes, something dumb. So considering that connection, the fact that the Egyptians literally took their deity of death and combined it with the Greek messenger god, who also has ties to the underworld, and how he was a messenger between. He was the only one of the Greek deities from lore that I remember who was able to pass between the mortal realm, the heavenly realms, and then the underworld freely because of his role of messenger.
No less a disaster than the marriage. Did he invade again as soon as I was exiled?
So, if they actually do that, that could be an interesting thing. They could imply that the Egyptians brought back Hermes at the very least because of that connection, but I doubt they will. But in general, for a lot of story stuff, and once again boss fights, because this franchise is famous for its boss fights, at least to some extent, like Poseidon, the Hydra, what's the Colossus, things like that. Oop. That almost got me. The franchise is famous for its boss fights, so given the potential that the game would have if they took an Egyptian setting, it just makes the most sense. And in general, most Japanese deities are not very well known, or Asian deities for that matter. I do not even know most of them, and I've tried to go out of my way to familiarize myself with the Japanese pantheon. Like, I know about Izunagi and his brother, and then there's Izunagi's wife, and who else would there be? God, I can't think of any off the top of my head, not the way I can with, like, the Greek pantheon or the Norse or Egyptian pantheons. But yeah, just because of people not being as aware of the Japanese pantheon and Egypt point blank period having more potential for boss fights in that sense. And it just making more sense from a story standpoint for Kratos.
Why do you keep bringing him up? My brother is no concern of yours. Do you understand?
Oh, I understand plenty.
But it would be funny if they just went with some outlandish pantheon. Like if Kratos went to Rome of all places. And arguably you could make an argument for him going to Rome. Because if I recall correctly, the Greeks and the Romans had a spat during one point in time. They could even have him go back to Persia. Because I do not think most people remember the fact that God of War Chains of Olympus, well, that's probably why. Most people probably have not even played it. But in Chains of Olympus, the game starts off with Kratos being sent to Persia to fight off the Persian army because they were invading Greece. And what it was Persia, right? Now that I think about it, it's been a long time since I played Chains of Olympus.
But it never stopped me blaming him most. Any of this sound familiar so far?
You even got to interact with Ifrit in a way. He was used. Ifrit was one of Kratos' magics in that game. The only good magic he got in that game. But I doubt they would have Kratos go back to Persia or anywhere around there.
My focus is on regaining my freedom, and I have no intention of being distracted.
All I'm saying is, you happen to find yourself talking. Maybe the worst.
It would be funny if they sent him to like Mongolia. Because there are certain ones that would make sense to go or consider going to, like China. Maybe even the most out there that they could take him is North America, and maybe some of like the more like Native American folklore deities, technically like things like the Thunderbird. But like I said, that is so out there. He literally on an entirely different part of the planet, in a different archipelago, if you will. That would be cool though if they did send him there. I'd like to see Kratos fight a Thunderbird.
Insides inside. Yeah. All yours. Give me a boost. You don't go telling no one about that. Come on up. Bet you're glad old Brock's around to save you. Uh-oh. Yeah!
We should probably go get him.
Keep your guard up.
What is a pantheon that you do not think or I guess placed you do not think they would take Kratos at this current moment in time that you would like to see? It can be anywhere. It does not matter. India is one I heard from one of my best friends. He was saying that India, just because once again all the gods they have, the boss fight potential. Fighting people like Shiva would be nuts.
Found who I was looking for. Think I'm gonna stay and catch up.
Oh, are ya now?
Do as you wish.
Brother, if you wouldn't mind, I'd have a word with Lord Freyr.
What do you think you're doing? Setting up a job at my place.
Reminds me of a Vanaheim song I heard long ago.
Africa could be another place now I think about it.
Oh, this here's my family, and I mean much to you, but means plenty to me.
It does too mean something to me. Otherwise, I wouldn't have made up with my clunkerhead brother.
5 million moonbeams.
India would be very cool, but other than that, I don't have enough knowledge about different places to give an answer. Fair enough, yeah. I would say that the most familiar, the Greece and Scandinavia, so the Greeks and the Norse pantheons are probably the two people are most familiar with, period. Because people like Zeus and Thor, those two names come up constantly, Odin. The only exception I can think of that is like a deity that's brought up constantly, despite the fact that his pantheon's not very well known, is Mercury. But that's only because people call him the Hermes ripoff, and they are not wrong.
Hello, servant of Freya.
Do not speak to him. Shouldn't you be moving along now, stranger?
The only other pantheon I think might be more well known is the Hispanic pantheons. You know, with the Aztecs and all that. And the Mayans.
We wish this camp kept secret. Understood?
I will not compromise it.
No, we wouldn't.
I have Hispanic heritage, and the funny thing is I cannot tell you much about them. I can tell you about some of like their more mythical creatures, like the Quetzalcoatl.
Sorry, we got off on the wrong foot there, stranger.
Outside of that, though,
Only seeing Aesir in these parts. Don't typically get friendly faces. There's a friendly face. Okay?
His name is Kratos, and no, the Aesir are in Vanaheim.
Yeah, we've been occupied since. I lost count.
What is your plan?
Still kind of working on it.
Brother, I think I could be of use here. If my counsel is welcome.
yeah, the one I know the most about it are the Greek and Roman, with just a bit of knowledge on the Norse, Egyptian, and Indian. Yeah, my field of expertise in that regard, I quote expertise, is the Greek and Norse pantheons.
As long as you're working for my sister, careful you don't screw up.
I do not know much about the Roman pantheon. I dabble with the Egyptian pantheon. I know, in terms of like the Indian pantheon, I know Shiva and Kujata. Outside of that,
Numbers, movements, outposts. We have good intel. Just short on help.
I see. Well, that then.
I know a lot about
Now that the distractions
Japanese myth in regards to like cryptids and things of that nature, and spirits more specifically, things like Oni, Onryo. But outside of that, there were like deities and stuff. I know very little.
So by the time I learned he had lived, it was too late for amends. His anger poisoned him against me. But I never stopped loving my brother.
You think my anger is irrational? You've known Freyr for mere moments, and already you're taking his side?
I am not taking his...
No. You're just sharing your thoughts on a subject you know nothing.
I guess the only other question would be is what weapon would they give Kratos when he goes to a different pantheon other than some of the obvious ones? Like if he goes to Japan, for example, the most obvious question in regards to what weapon they would give him is a katana. But if he goes to places like Egypt, that is I guess somewhat of a loaded question, as I do not think most people are very familiar with Egyptian weapons. I know like the appearances of a lot of them, but I do not remember the names. If he went to one of the Spanish pantheons, I would not be surprised if they also gave him that same weapon that Tyr has the second time you fight him, which I think is called a death club, if I recall correctly. It's just literally just like a giant stick or mace of some kind with obsidian blades running up and down. I guess the center part. of the weapon.
An ancient.
I think I have to make a file here too. Yeah. We continue on our mission. Yeah. So I need to save over this. I will have to go back later, and I pressed the wrong button. We'll have to go back later and do some proper cleaning, but I'm just trying to make sure I have the saves. I'll set them up later. Because that will take a long time. Sorry, I forgot what I was doing. Where is it? This still works in a way, but nowhere near as well as it did before. Maybe if I had a magic build, that would have actually did more damage. No, Fred, just more times than I care to count.
I know what you're doing. Trying to play on my sympathies in the hope I let you live.
I am only trying to help. The mistakes of the past need not be repeated.
I don't need to hear about your mistakes. I've made enough of my own.
Actually, now I think about it, a problem that might appear if they did take Kratos to Japan, it would probably be a massive time jump. Because a lot of the stuff with the, at least compared to like Greece and the Norris lands, a lot of the stuff with the Japanese pantheon, from what I understand, actually happens a bit later down the pipeline.
Everyone is so eager to advise me, as if any of you know me or what I need. The biggest loss in my life is due to you saving me when I specifically told you not to. Well, it was my family, my mess. I know Baldur wasn't perfect, but he was mine.
I know.
You know? You think you can even begin to understand the pain of losing a child?
Yes.
I do.
Before Atreus?
Her name was Calliope.
Calliope. What happened?
It was long ago.
Very long ago.
I shouldn't have asked.
Yeah, I had to do the abandoned child minigame. Press circle to abandon child. That is not what I wanted to do.
Remember, it won't do any good to attack while their shields are up.
Are you sure? Where's the other one? Really?
Right. These are formidable creatures, very territorial too. Good luck.
It is a shame what they did to this ability. Or I guess runic, whatever. Where do we go again? This way?
We need to get to that watchtower. We'll have to go through the valley, this way.
I know your son's story. You should know my daughter's. In the service of a cruel god, I was tricked into destroying a village, not knowing my own wife and child were there until their blood stained my hands. I swore revenge.
That's... I can't imagine.
I paid back their blood 1,000 times and burned Olympus to the ground. Yet, guilt remained. Perhaps you will kill me, Freya. But it will bring you no peace.
Perhaps it is not peace. All those times I found you, why'd you refuse to fight me?
Every outcome would mean defeat.
What does that mean?
I have never wished you harm, Freya. You helped us. You saved Atreus when he was sick. I did not wish to live with killing you, any more than I wished to die.
I see. You hear that? Noken! And so close to the village! Their song makes their allies invulnerable. They will not let you pass unless you destroy them all!
I'm aware, Freya. How long have I been streaming? Hold on. Because the hateful is not far off from here.
My village.
It's over there.
I hardly recognize it. I used to play hide and seek with graves and crops. We'd spend afternoons stealing honey bread from the brown falls. At harvest time, we'd dance and feast until the sun rose. It was all so simple. Why did I have to come back here? To be reminded of things.
When was... Oh, almost messed up. When was that save? Okay, literally right here. Load. This is suboptimal position. Let me run up here so that way I can trigger the fight and then... This should give me a checkpoint. Yep. Dead.
I have fought that one before.
Really? How very strange.
Yes. Lovely. That one shot? Alright. Next major combat encounter is about to happen. Then we just got a few more things to run around and collect.
May Freya never waver.
The other half is missing. May she protect us always. An old adage, if you will.
I might try to get to Needhogger. Needhog, whichever you prefer. That should have hit. Where did... Okay. Oh, there it is. There's a lot of health stones and stuff on the ground. Be gone. Okay. That was nice and easy. I do not remember.
Be glad you have a home
There we go.
to remember fondly. In Sparta, we were taken from our homes as children and raised in the Agoi. We marched or we drowned, fought for scraps or starved. Our elders beat us till we could not stand. At night, we made our way home, alone, or were food for wolves.
Nicest Spartan concentration camp.
Spartans are made.
For fun, sorry.
These plants behave similarly to the scorn holes we found in the foothills of Midgard ages ago.
We might be able to get to Needhog soon, if I keep going at this place.
Considering how Spartans are made, it's no wonder you turned out as you did. Your fate was sealed from the start.
Fate can be overcome.
I used to think so. When the Norns told me of my son's fate, I thought I could change
I don't remember, does
You know well how
Egypt have, like, any form of, like, Sisters of Fate?
That's right. You defy prophecy.
I do not think the Japanese do. It'd be funny if they did. 3 games, or I guess 3 pantheons, we still have to put up with, you know, some variation of their order.
Atreus would agree with you about prophecy. He rushes blindly to a fate the giants foretold. Disappears for 2 days, trying to prove he is their champion, fabled to fight at Ragnarok.
What? I know all the Ragnarok prophecies. There's no champion of the giants.
It is one core concealed. Because of this champion, the realms are saved at Ragnarok. Only Asgard falls, and Odin with it.
So all this time, Odin's obsession with every detail of Ragnarok, he's been missing a crucial piece. Huh. Well done, bro.
Atreus will not be a pawn of prophecy.
Sure.
Still stand against fate, even with victory foretold.
I will not march my son to war. He is no Spartan. I would keep it that way.
You would speak to
Not
me
something
of protecting a
most
child? Is my tragedy not enough of a lesson? Fighting fate is a waste
something
of
most
precious time.
fathers, at the very least, who are in the military would do. Probably mothers as well. Well, actually, definitely mothers. That was so horribly shot. But from my experience, most fathers or men who were ex-military, they would much prefer it if their children did not join. I searched it up, and it seems like a god of fate, but not equivalent to the... Okay, yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, for the Egyptians especially, that definitely makes sense. Where am I? What am I trying to do? In a way, Anubis also, I'm aware, Freya. In a way, oops, sorry, hit the mic. That was awful. In a way, Anubis fits that role of, like, I guess, deity of fate for the Egyptians. Because, what all his specific stuff entails. Can I not do it for him? Apparently I cannot. This is so slow. And not even because it inherently is, it's just because I forgot how to do it. Because he's been in it.
I have seen enough war to know the cost.
Yep.
After the price I paid to end one, look around. See what happens when you don't fight truly.
Well, he did in a way, and it still costed more than it was worth. Yeah, Zeus may be dead, but we all saw what happened to Greece. War is never worth it. They're only ever losers.
That's
as
one of Odin's
corny as it sounds. Oh wait, I need to make a save here. I forgot. Yeah, I'm just trying to make saves for all the bosses and stuff. That would have sucked if I had to do a large chunk of the game just to make a save there. I think this should be Fisk, yeah. So I'll go back here and then save over file 18. Wrong button. Or wrong tab. Either way. There we go. Yo, they butchered this runic. It does no damage anymore. if I did not block. Your saves are so much more organized than mine. In any game. Well, it took a long time to get them set up this way. And there are times where I had to be particular about how they are organized. Because there's like, I think it was 90 something bosses in this game in total. Or it might have been 80. But because of that, you cannot have a individual save for each fight. So there are times where you have to make a save and have it set up specifically during a part of the story. Like a specific section of the story. And then you just have to go to whatever boss you want to fight in the overworld from that save. Like during this later portion of Vanaheim, I'll have to make a save for that explicit purpose. Not now during this visit to Vanaheim, but later. Apparently, I never called my axe back. But I wish my saves were as organized as they were in 2018 as they are for this game. Because they're a mess over there. I actually do not have any real specific boss saves for 2018 other than for Sigrun. And outside of that, I do not really think I have any other saves for any specific bosses, not like Magni or Modi or anything like that. Or the other Valkyries. Even though I probably should. But the best way to go about that is just to, because I think you can only have like 10 or something saves like that for 2018. So you cannot have it for every boss fight, because if that's the case, almost all your save files will be taken up by the Valkyrie fights. Because there's 8 of them. Over here. The only other game I can think of where I have like a save system like this set up for specific boss fights would be Final Fantasy Remake and Rebirth, technically. Because I have a specific save dedicated for Gilgamesh and Rebirth. And then I have a save for
What? I killed to protect my son, to aid my friends. But I will
for Hell House.
You don't get to make that choice. Not with the debt you owe me.
I am not here for debts. I would always have helped you.
So much has been taken from me, and I'm just supposed to let it all go?
Freya.
Enough.
I feel the source of the
oh yeah, we're here at Needhug, so I need to make another save. At least I believe this is the spot I should save in. Let me, just in case, so I have something to go back to. Manual.
There.
Yep. We at least got to do Needhug before moving on.
There. I feel the source
or ending stream, I should say.
Keeping me in Midbar.
What is this place?
My home. I was born here.
I will actually watch this cutscene. That's something I got too caught up. I forgot I wanted to do a playthrough where I just watch the cutscenes again.
Something's not
Because of this armor. And just so I can see what it looks like.
World tree roots bound in Odin's damn knots. That's how he did it.
Come on!
You're only susceptible to fire, as I recall.
No! It protects Yggdrasil's roots wherever they are. Bastard was counting on it. Good! Keep at it!
I got overzealous. Well, that killed it. Well, killed it in first phase at least. That should have been.
It's still in the way. I need to get to those roots.
I know.
Oh, this went from bad to worse. All right.
I can handle the picture. Focus on the root. I have it.
In that case,
Hurry!
finally.
You are free.
In Vanaheim, yes. But there are more roots. She will guard them with her life.
That is faster than I remember it. You know, I see that flash every playthrough, and it implies that that can be parried, but I do not see how it can be because of how weird it is. Freya. Okay, they buffed her. Those used to move slow from what I remember the last time I fought her. A few months ago. To a year at most. No, that's an exaggeration. Well, I tried. I mean, they are implying it can be parried.
Your axe! Aim for my sigil!
Oh, I already hit the health threshold. Damn.
My sigils can amplify your attacks!
Yes, Freya. Thanks for just giving me a full buff routine. Please. Oh, kill it. What was funny about this, the Dark Odyssey skin in particular, that I've heard people complaining about? People were saying that they thought it did not match the art style for the game. And I can see where they're coming from on that. But at the same time, I killed you though. Oh yeah, that's right, we have to wait for it to open its stomach again. And then Freya does the... Forgot. Whatever.
It's going back in. We will not let it. I have to break his hold on me, and you are in the way.
I watched a video of a Norse linguist, Old Norse, the primary language of this game, at least in concept. What she says there, apparently, what it more directly translates to is too close, rather than I guess what they intended it to be. But yeah, apparently when Freya goes Less Arifa, she says more of too close rather than, like, anything else. Like close portal or close rift. Oh yeah. It defaults it. It's not that. I guess that's something else that they might have updated, because she should have had the Dark Odyssey skin on. That's unfortunate. I never noticed that her hands were shaking during this. I've seen this cutscene a lot. I always notice something new each time.
It's over. It's really over.
And now that you have what you seek,
I suppose this is the part where I'm meant to forgive you.
I suppose this is the point where I forgive you. Where I kill you.
Yes, the Will Kratos Die game show. Place your bets, people.
To be honest, I don't think I can do either. There's still a part of me that is so angry
It'll always be. It'll always be angry. But no. You are not the one who needs to die. I do see that. Look. Everything that's happened between us.
It'd be really funny if she did both, forgive him, then just slice his head off. True. I forgive you, Kratos. Now die. For a lot of the darker parts of the game, the skin works so well. It just looks so natural. Like it makes Kratos look like an outer god of some kind.
And never will. But the choice between life and death should have been yours to make. I should not have robbed you of that choice.
I heard people say that they think Freya might have forgave Kratos a little bit too easily or fast than they would have expected. But considering everything, it's not even like she directly forgives Kratos. She's just okay with him. She even, like, she says it multiple times that, no, I'm after Odin. He needs to die. It's not even that, like, they're specifically friends or... Yeah, they're more friendly towards each other at this point, obviously, but... It is not like she said it herself, like, I probably will never forgive you for killing my son, obviously.
Now that I am myself again, I suppose it's time to face my brother.
And after that?
I don't know. It's been a long time since I've had a choice. Let me live with that for a moment. We can take this way back to the camp. I can help with the vines. Now embed your blades into the growing vines and light them. Fast learner.
Your brother seemed open to your return.
Oh, I'm sure he'd love nothing more than for everything to go back to how it was. Leaving the responsibilities of leadership to me.
Who's gonna tell her that he will never have to worry about that period after the end of the game?
Send Odin my regards.
You use your anger effectively.
Well,
That coming from Kratos is one of the highest compliments anyone could ever receive in relation to their anger.
It's not as though I want to be angry with Freyr. He's my brother. He was the most important person in the world to me for half my life.
I think I might get to that part where it goes from day to night,
These plants are the
or
same
night
as
to
those
day.
we saw earlier. Frost should make quick work of their poison.
now the sigil should hold the frost. Well done.
Yeah, in hindsight, then he should have made it to where. True that, and approving grunt are both such. He'll give you for compliments. Yeah, about much. Sorry, I think I misread it. But in general, that depending on the person, that's either like one of the worst insults or highest compliments you can receive. Like the angriest like man in history, Kratos, tells you that you use your anger effectively. At that point, you either have to accept the path you're on or reevaluate your life in its entirety. Because for him to say that, that's like, what? Skull? No, that's Hati. Sorry.
Skull and Hati are in Vanaheim?
We learned the giants rescued them from Odin and brought them here.
And look, the sunlight wakes the sleeping roots. See how they stretch to welcome the sun? Beautiful, no? A far cry from the sheets of Midgard snow I've grown accustomed to. The Eastern migration. It's just...
Look at all those JPEGs.
At least the whole realm hasn't fallen to predators and occupiers. I guess there's still...
You can just see some of them rendering in and out.
Something to defend even after so much damage has been done. Maybe that goes for Freyr, too.
Knock on wood. I'm just going to go to a point where I know that they will give me a checkpoint. What? Got a shot off.
What is this?
I don't know. But giants definitely crafted it. There's 2 wolves represented here. Perhaps a connection to our friends in the sky. A mystery for another time.
Oh yeah, there's a comment, and I'll definitely get a checkpoint here.
My sigils can break through their shields. Alpha, they're defenseless now. Enemies to your left.
Is that everyone? Nope. No, that is everyone. I actually do not remember what's through here.
What's happened since I last saw Freyr? I'm not even sure where to begin.
What do you want from him?
An apology would be a start. I want to forgive him. I'd like to think he's changed. He's all I have left now. Did you ever apologize to Deimos?
It is difficult to seek forgiveness when you feel unworthy.
As I recall it, he died before he could.
Now how to get across? My sigil arrow should be able to carry the fire across the river to reach the bramble.
Yes, I know.
Forgiveness can be powerful, even for the unworthy. My wife Faye taught me that.
Well, be glad you have a spouse to remember from.
I wonder what they're saying. It is not like this is RE4, and I can use the fact that I know Spanish to translate for myself what they're saying.
Enemy to
Great. Cease. Well, there. Did they add more enemies at a certain during a certain update? Because I do not remember there being this many.
All my former spouse taught me was that there's no limit to the depths to which a soul can sink into darkness. Tricked me into marriage to spare my home and took my home just the same.
Sag.
Scattered my people to the wind. Maybe it's time somebody drew the line. Maybe it's time someone makes Groa's prophecy come true.
I will not wish for war, Freya.
War is a terrible thing, Kratos. But some things are even worse. You know, if Atreus rushes to Ragnarok, you may not be able to stop him.
I will.
And if you fail?
I have prepared him to survive without me, if he must.
Watch for the plants. They like me, but strangers not so much.
I see that.
You won't be able to damage it without destroying it.
That is the most annoying one of those in the entire game. Takes so long to get. Thank you. That's what I was trying to do from the get-go. And we're back.
So what's next, Kratos, if not preparing for war?
I do not know, but I will take no chances with Atreus.
Well, you may want to think fast unless you want to make that choice for you.
Ready?
As I ever will be.
Oh. I forgot to put on Freya's armor, because she's a companion now. Or is it Dark Odyssey?
Really is you. You returned to us at last.
Yes.
Let's celebrate. You reclaim the throne. We'll rebuild. Me and you against the world. Huh? Just like the old days.
I'm not staying.
I don't understand. You're here. Maybe together we can take back what's ours.
I only just got back what's mine. I still have work to do.
You've seen what's left of the realm, right? Do we really mean that little to you?
You question my loyalty? Vanaheim turned its back on me.
Oh, you still can't let go of that old fight?
It was my duty to save as many of our people as possible. My responsibility. One you didn't take seriously then, and from the looks of it, one you don't now.
You think this is a game to me?
Yeah.
We lost everything to that maniac you called husband. The man's family set me on fire. How did you expect me to react?
Like my brother! Like the boy that used to have my back no matter what! And who I always supported no matter how selfish his choices. I expected you to come and find me. That no matter how hurt or angry, you wouldn't abandon me. I needed you the most.
Freya, please. lifetimes with those last awful words I said to you. Have any idea what that's like? Knowing that your own selfishness hurt the person that you care about the most. Abandon you. Oh, Freya. I mourned you. Oh, I missed you so much.
I've seen people say online that like, the way they made up was unrealistic. No, it's not. I would know. I have a sibling. I've had conversations like that where we're 1 minute at each other's throats, and the next minute we're making up. Just like this. Anyone who says that has never had a sibling, and it shows. Or anything even close to a sibling. But that is exactly how it goes, I can tell you from experience.
This hasn't been your home for a long time, has it? Do what you gotta do.
All right, that's enough. Ain't y'all got nothing better to do than gawking at family sorting squabbles? Come on, you two.
Not you.
Got a few things to square with y'all. First is you collecting your spare heads. Second is that sigil magic I smell on your bow. Reckon that's an idea I'll steal. How's about I set
I can confirm I have a sister and this has happened, yeah. I would go as far as say specific interactions like that between brother and sister are more common. It's the same for me, I also have a sister. We have had spats like that.
If you're done freezing your backside off in Midgard, maybe
But in general, yeah, anyone who says that was an unrealistic, that's the most sibling interaction I've ever seen. In a video game, at least. It goes exactly like that.
I'll meet y'all back at the house. Unless you want me to fix anything up first.
Well, brother, care to meet our new allies? Or shall we depart?
And with that, I think I will end the stream there. At least got to set up like 1 or 2 save files here and there.
When he found me, the truth I'd pledged my life to, it was a lie. Lord Freyr put what was left of me back together. Gave me something real to believe in.
That's Freyr, the Lord of Second Chances.
He saved me. Gave me a family, a purpose. And I will gladly die for both.
Thank you. He's lucky to have you. Tell me about the camp dog.
Lord Freyr found her half dead in the jungle. She probably escaped the Blothhunder breeding farm north of here. We all told him she was beyond saving. But he never gave up. She healed and hasn't left us since.
She's a sweet girl.
She's pure of heart. Believes in your goodness, even if you don't.
Yeah, save it there and then end the stream. Thank you to everyone who showed up. Probably get in a shower after this, in all honesty. Yeah, if you enjoyed the stream, please be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Remember to always stay anonymous.